Good morning. What's good, everybody? How you doing? Welcome
What's going on, baby? COHR, man.
Welcome to the Central Ohio Hoops Report. It is myself, Derrick Owens Jr., my guy, the foremost authority in Central Ohio when it comes to basketball, high school level, and college too, man. Let's put him in there. Zach Fleer from 270 Hoops. What's up, brother? How you feeling,
I'm
man?
doing great, man. It was a late night last night, but I love it. Central Ohio High School basketball is back, and we're just blessed to have this opportunity to do the show with you. So let's get it going.
Absolutely. We already got people watching right now on Facebook. The legend, Uncle Reginald Lee. Thank you for watching. My girlfriend, Sue Madarsky. Hey, what's up out there? I see you up. Thank you for getting up. Manning Bumgardner, father.
Hey, shout out to Trey.
Yeah, shout out Trey.
Hey, also, if there's any kids watching, you need some ACT prep, Manning can take care of you. Get in contact with him.
Yes.
That stuff's serious. We don't want kids to not qualify these days. I mean, there's so many resources out there to help kids to get right in the classroom and qualify for the NCAA. So if you need ACT prep, check out Manning Bumgardner.
I feel like we need to give Mr. Bumgardner a bigger,
Yeah.
bigger room to take care of some of these situations, man, because so many young people out there that need that help for sure. So look, if you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, okay? YouTube, go subscribe to not only 270 Hoops, subscribe to the Central Ohio High School Showcase as well. Also watching it on Twitter, huge on Twitter. Thank you for all the views last week, all the comments. We appreciate those. Please comment. We love to hear from, all the participants out there, schools. If you got a big victory last night, if you suffered a tough loss, but you think, hey, you got a good team, we want to hear from you right here, okay? Yep. And again, Manning Bumgardner, he comments, you guys are great, good looking. Hey, I appreciate you, man. That what you do for the kids is what we appreciate.
Yep.
Absolutely. Zach, man, what's up, man? You ready? Let's
I'm pumped. Like, I texted you yesterday and I was like, man, I'm getting the itch. Like, I can't wait till December 8th to do a show. Yeah. High school started, basketball started on Thursday. We had a real game action. I was like, we need to get in the studio and give the people what they want. So
absolutely,
here we are, and let's get into it.
So let's go through some scores from last night. Like you said, we had some games early in the week on Thursday, but we did have a slate of games last night, and then the big one is today. And we'll get into that. We also have a pick six for you, some of the games that we feel like will be, the must-watch games of the weekend. Two of them happened last night. You were at one. I was at one. Yep. But let's run them all down. And just your thoughts on some of the teams that aren't in our pick six, okay? Yeah. And any particular players that you may want to point out as we go through this. But Columbus Academy, they got the victory over Western Reserve, 59-42. Tree of Life, also with a victory, 59-40 over International. Jackson, Zane Trace tip-off classic there. They got the victory over
tough Bloom Carroll team. So
Bloom
Jackson,
Carroll, 54. Yep,
that's a good win. Obviously they're not in their area, but Southern Ohio team, they're usually pretty solid. And for Bloom Carroll, Otto Coons is coming off that almost historic football season, so he's probably not in the basketball shape yet. But I think Bloom Carroll is going to be a team. As the season goes on, they're going to get better. And
in these last couple of years, they've been good in basketball. Yeah. Always a team that's right there having a chance in these district regional finals. So Bloom Carroll definitely a team to look out for. Westone, they take the loss last night, 35-59. Dublin Scioto with a victory there. Delaware Hayes, 80-61 over Buckeye Valley.
There were two big scores in this game. We'll get to those guys a little later. We'll go more in detail, but for Delaware Hayes, so there's a junior there named Paul Burris, about 6'6",
mm-hmm.
shot maker supreme. Just a strong kid that's put on about 15 pounds of muscle and gotten tougher. So he had 31 points last night. He started off with 23 in the first half, and then for Buckeye Valley they took the loss, but Dylan Herbert, the junior, had 35 points. So for Delaware, that's always a rivalry game. It's not easy to win there, and I'm really excited for that team because I think they have the potential to be potentially, challenge Hilliard Bradley in the OCC Cardinal Division,
mm-hmm.
and then maybe, make a surprise run in March.
Trip Hopkins is watching. What's up, Trip?
What's up, Trip?
All right. And Manning Bumgardner also comments again. Andre Irving Jr., I'm calling him the next Drew Lavender, 16 last night. Love him.
Yeah. So in that Olentangy Orange game, they took down New Albany, and the trio is actually all three guys played in our fall league, just a few months ago. But Luke Ballinger had a career high, the senior, 19 points. Bryson Lane had, I believe, 17 points, and then Andre was 16. Andre's a kid. He waited his turn last year
mm-hmm.
As a freshman. Had some times where he's maybe frustrated that he wasn't playing, but the time's now for him, and
it's a good start.
He may not be as tall as other guards in that class, but he's super skilled, he's tough, and he's going to compete every single night.
There's a lot of great guards, young guards that don't have the physical stature, the height that you would like to see in basketball, but outstanding with ball skills and offensive, defensive tools. So definitely 16 is off to a great start. Drew Lavender, though, I mean, that's a legendary name to speak of.
That's a big comparison, and that's for Andre. You know, he's young. He may not know Drew Lev. I bet he does, but that's some high praise for him.
Trip also comments, "What's up, fellas? Love the show. I'm a fan." Hey, man, Trip, we appreciate the love, man, the support. Thank you so much, man. Definitely. Let's get back into some more of these scores. Okay, Mount Vernon over Highland, 39-35. Jonathan Alder with a victory over Fairbanks.
We covered that one,
57-46.
For Jonathan Alder, Jacob Koenig went 9 for 11 from the field. The senior guard had 22 points. They're going to be a major player. Jonathan Alder is in Division II. I feel like Brett Cahill finally has his team that he thinks can get over the hump and beat those, CCL teams, City League teams that they have usually, been tripped up by in the district tournament. They have great size. Henry Walker's a 6'6", post is pretty good. And then they got 2 underclassmen guards. Well, not underclassmen. They got a sophomore and a junior, Jackie Santa Emma and Jackson Izzard. So Jonathan Alder's loaded. I think they're going to be a contender in Division II. Obviously, there's 2 district titles to win, so it'll be interesting to see where they go in March, but for now, that's a pretty good win against a Fairbanks team that should be highly improved out there in the Central Buckeye Conference. A
game you went to last night, Newark over Westerville South, 60-56. We'll talk about that more when we get into our pick 6. Dublin Kaufman, 84 over Mansfield Senior, 84-44.
This one.
Yep, go ahead.
It's a 24-22 game at halftime.
Wow.
Kaufman won by 40. They scored 61 points after halftime. Just goes to show the offensive firepower that they have. And, Mansfield Senior is not the greatest team, but for Kaufman to score 61 points in a half is pretty crazy.
We love Dublin Kaufman as a team. We'll talk about them a little bit later in one of the stars of the night.
Yes, the star.
Watkins Memorial, they take the loss to Gehenna last night, 60-39. Fairfield Union over West High School, 54-38. Olentangy, 65. Westerville North, 63. I attended that game last night. We'll talk about that more in the pick 6 as well. But just real quick, a lot of talent on the floor. Jeremiah King, the point guard, that was the matchup versus Sean Marks. Sean Marks had a great game. He was just poised.
Tough, man.
Composed.
He's a bulldog.
Yes, he is, man. Now, he didn't have his traditional long-range bombing game where he usually hits 3, 4, 5
He's gotten stronger,
threes.
So he's put on weight, and he can finish against length. He's obviously 5'10". He's not the biggest kid out there.
Right.
But he'll get into your body, and he's going to finish through you. So that's one thing. Sean, when he gets to college next year at Ohio Dominican, I think he's going to have a chance to stand out early because he can stretch the floor, but he can also take you off the dribble and score at the rim.
Absolutely. Love his game. We'll talk more about that in the pick 6 and some thoughts on Westerville North, too. Good team. Good potential there. Let's definitely say that. Bexley, 46-44 over Westerville Central in the Grove City Tip-Off Classic.
Ryan Callahan with the game winner for Bexley. He's a Wright State baseball commit, but he is a tough, strong, physical athlete at 6'2". And again, Division II, that's another sleeper. Bexley, they got some really good talent returning, and in the Mid-State League, they're going to be one of the top contenders.
Bexley always make these couple runs every now and then. They get a couple kids in, they get a good class. Canal Winchester, 80-63 over Independence. Mifflin, they take the loss to Grove City last night in the Grove City Tip-Off Classic, 66-50. DeSales, they get the victory, 54-29 over Tri-Valley. Shekinah Christian.
So London.
Yeah, they fought to London 64-27. You got a young man you want to talk about that?
Yeah, Trey Woodyard for London. He's a sophomore. Really, really impressed with him. He had 25 points, so he almost outscored Shekinah last night. And London didn't have their transfer, the other sophomore, Janez Cameron, who's about 6'5". Woodyard's 6'5". When they get those two on the court at the same time, watch out. London's a team in Division II. They haven't been much of anything as of late. But with those two guys, I think London has a chance to really surprise people, and that could be a team. If those young sophomores grow up, they can make a run there in the district tournament.
Shout out to London, man. Great football season. Shout out to my man KJ Price and my brothers from London, man. So always an interest out there on that Trip 70 West. Couple quick comments again, man. Alex Sester is watching.
I got a comment from Joel Johnson. He said West might have lost by 16, but Chris Vinny almost brought us back in the game. He dropped 18 points. Chris is a kid we talked about a little bit last week towards the end of the show. A senior at West to keep an eye on. They're going to have to get more scoring around him. I think Abdi Gele could be a kid that could do that, but West,
Shout out Chris Vinny, man.
not easy to win at Fairfield Union, but I think that's a team that could be improved this year.
Manning Bumgarner comments, how about Dom scoring 36 last night? We'll get into that, man, for sure.
It's an hour-long show, folks. We'll get there.
Love his game, too. And Alex also comments, good one in Sheridan last night. So let's finish this up. Big Walnut, 67 over Hamilton Township, 67-35. Maybe a surprise there with the score. Miami Trace, 49. Circleville, 54. New Albany, 59. Olentangy Orange, 69. That's the kid Irvin that we talked about, Andre Irvin and those guys. Definitely impressive last night. Lancaster, they take the loss to Tays Valley, 48-32. Chillicothe, 40. Granville, 38. Lakewood, 56. Riverview, 48.
Shout out to Riverview. My wife is a graduate of Riverview out there in Warsaw, Ohio, near Coshocton. Not a basketball school, but they obviously produce great women, so shout out to Riverview.
Burn Union, 68. Madison Christian, 43. Northside Christian, 48. Millersport, 56. Riverview East Academy, 51. Wellington, 74. A lot of excitement in Wellington.
Yeah, so Wellington, they got about 5 of the 10 players on their team are freshmen, so they're super young. Dallas Patrick, the senior, we'll get into him later. He had another big night last night. And they have a matchup today in their tip-off invitational against Maumee Valley. It's at 4 p.m. Zeb Jackson from Maumee Valley is committed to Michigan. He's the top point guard in 2020. If you want to get out to Wellington, it's just it's in Upper Arlington, almost North Columbus. Zeb Jackson's the truth. So for
Something
Wellington,
to go watch for sure.
That is going to be a matchup for them to see if they can stop Zeb and all the talent that he has.
Bishop Reedy with a squeaker last night over Logan M, 58-56 in the Zane Trace tip-off. And that's going to give us the scores, the rundown there. Those are all the scores from last night. We've got a huge day today.
Oh, yeah.
Huge day today. The 2018 All-Ohio High School Hoop Showcase going to be at Pick North. It's going to be at Gahanna. 2 schools, 2 gyms, loads and loads of talent. Corey Boyd is watching. Thank you for checking in, brother. Pooh, Tez is watching. Scales family, what's up, man? And happy birthday to my Uncle Scooter out there, man. We see you out there. He's watching as well. So let's get into it, man. The Pick Six. Got some games last night. We went to, okay? Yep. You attended the game. I attended the game. And as well as just some of the games that we want to look forward to today. We got a big game, a big slate of games on the way. So I'm going to let you start this off, man, because Newark, just the program in general, boys basketball, girls basketball, the family aspect and atmosphere of it. Just talk about what it was like last night and what you saw on the floor from a talent perspective from both teams. And that was Westerville South versus Newark last night.
Yeah, so 2 teams I have in my top 15. Interesting note about that game is Ed Kalo and Jeff Quackenbush are the only active coaches in the area with Division I state titles. So you knew you were going to get a great coaching matchup. There was a lot of youth on the floor. They both graduated, a lot of talent the last 2 graduating cycles. That was a game. It was very interesting to start off. Westerville South had 10 fouls in the first quarter. Ed Kalo got a technical in the first quarter.
Hold on, man. They had 10 fouls.
They had 10 fouls in the first quarter. He threw his blazer off. So if you've ever seen Ed Kalo, he always has a blazer. He got pissed. He threw that off, threw it on the scores table. Could not stand it. So Westerville South from the very beginning, they get into foul trouble. Their senior guards, Jordan McMillan, picks up 3 fouls in the first quarter, I believe. You had Manny Sunnyway, who is kind of their heart and soul of that defense. He picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter. They went down to the end of their bench starting off. And for Newark, they don't have any much senior talent either. I believe they have 2 seniors, one in the primary rotation, and a guy that really stepped up in that first quarter with all the foul trouble was Drew Ballinger. He started for Newark. He's a sophomore, about 6'2". He made it to the free throw line 11 times in the first quarter.
In the first quarter. 11 free throws.
I don't even think James Harden's done that this year.
Wow. Was it that rough? Was it just was it a little bit of sloppy play? What was going on out there come on, man.
There was like five blocks that they called in Westerville South that they were arguing could have been charges. They could have gone either way, but Newark was just they were being tough. They were getting to the basket. It's funny, they start off the game with 3 turnovers. First 3 possessions, 3 turnovers, 6 points for Westerville South. They got calmed down. South actually in the second quarter they took the lead back, And then Newark in that third quarter, they took the lead 41-40, and then, South just could not – it didn't seem like because of foul trouble they couldn't get, into a rhythm that would allow them to, stretch the lead.
So let me ask you this, okay? Westerville South, we know that the history, the recent history, the Wesson brothers, state championship, just bringing so much joy to Westerville. Newark, okay? Also one of those top programs, BJ dueling a couple years ago. Where do you see – just give me a quick, if you can, from what you saw last night, what's maybe the ceiling for each of these teams?
I think each team, they're both going to compete for OCC division titles. Obviously, Westerville South in that Buckeye division. They're gonna. There's no easy game in that division because you have teams like Olentangy Orange and Olentangy and Westerville North and Olentangy Liberty and then Westerville Central. So every team's got pretty good players and good athletes. South, the challenge for them, they don't have any size. Their biggest player is about 6'2", and he's more of a guard. Manny Sunnyway's 6'1". At the most, and he's their post player, and he does it really well. He's just a strong kid that plays hard. They're going to have to stay out of foul trouble. Jordan McMillan, who was their leading scorer last season, he was the reason that they were in close with Hilliard Bradley in the district final. He had 4 fouls early in the third quarter. But a kid who stepped up for them and I think might have earned a spot in that rotation, going forward is Jaden Geis. He is Jermaine Geis' son. He's a sophomore. Scored on all 3 levels, had 11 of his 13 points there in the second half. So as a sophomore, on a team mainly with senior guards, I think Geis could be a kid that, permanently gets a spot in that rotation.
Hey, so there you have it. 2 teams, no height necessarily for Westerville South, but a lot of good guard play. And for Newark, I mean, same old story, right?
Well, Newark's got Keyshawn Hurd, who's about 6'7". That's their power forward. He's going to West Georgia, the Division II school. Keyshawn, he struggled in the first half. He was missing some close shots, but he dominated the boards in the second half, finished with 10 points and 18 rebounds. He was kind of the key late, but a kid that really stepped up for them. He had a career-high 17 points, was the junior Jaden Woods. He had, I believe, 15 of his 17 in the second half. He had a run himself in the fourth quarter. He scored 3 straight tough transition buckets, 6-0 run, and it put Newark ahead, and they never gave up the lead. So that's another guy that – young player, but Jeff Quackenbush gets the best out of his players year after year, and they have a chance to churn out maybe 18, 19 wins, and you could see Newark once again competing for a district title, even though they don't have the top end talent they've had.
Jeff Quackenbush was a monster when I was in high school.
Yes, he was.
He was so he knows what he's doing. He's played the game. He knows it at a high level. So it's not a surprise that Newark is always his kind of basketball team. A couple comments I want to check with the legend, Uncle Reggie Lee. He said, I'll check this informative show later. Got to take the chicken out of the freezer for today's football, but he highly recommends this show. Thank you, man. And I don't know, man. I might stop by later for a piece of that, man. Hold me a leg or something. Sumadursky, she comments, morning, great game last night. Westerville North has some great potential. Westerville South is my home team, though. So, yeah, she's a Wildcat there. Okay. And Manning Baumgartner, glad to see you guys collaborating. You are putting Central Ohio basketball on a whole new level. That 2018 class, I think, probably had the most D1, D2 signees ever.
Well, let's speak on that real quick. So that 18 class, is the first class that I was able to cover from about 7th, 8th grade all the way up. In that 18 class, according to the data I've put together, there's about 78 to 80 kids that are playing some form of college basketball or post-grad basketball right now. So it's a blessing. It was a blessing to cover those guys because it was a very deep class, but there's a lot of great talent in that class. And it's a reason why there's a lot of young teams right now because that 18 class was so deep. I got a couple comments on the 270 Facebook. Andrew Downing, listening from Brooklyn, New York.
Andrew, shout out to Andrew. Man. Hey, he got the eye, man. That's every time I see it is Steph Curry in front of some amazing monument, man. Hey, Andrew, what's up, brother?
Kayvon Smith tuning in, the South High alum.
KV.
Shout out to you. Casey Gillespie, that's my guy out on the west side. I appreciate your support. Aaron Butt. So Aaron is a guy, west side dude. He has a great podcast. I was on it a few weeks ago. It's called the Aaron Wants to Know podcast. Highly recommend it if you are, an entrepreneur and you want to tell your story. Get with Aaron. He says, this is incredibly well done, fellas. Respect. # next level. Chris Kern, good show. Keep grinding. In South Carolina, watching the shoot around. Chris's son is Connor Kern. He was a 2014 Pickerington Central graduate, state champion, and plays at the Citadel. If you love high just high intensity, high tempo basketball. Watch the Citadel. Connor is a starting shooting guard there, and can put up a lot of points. So the Citadel's a team. If you love low major basketball and you're a freak like me, you might want to watch them. So also a comment from Casey Hood, my guy Zach Fleer. Shout out to Casey, and then Terry Jackson. Great job, fellas. Alvin Bird says great show, and then Myron Bess says this is nice, Zach, here in St. Louis. Myron's son is Javon Bess. He's a senior at St. Louis.
That's right.
2014 Gahanna graduate, but he was also a champion with Connor Curran at Pickerington Central in 2012. So we appreciate you. JD Weatherspoon. JD Weatherspoon just tuned in.
Checking in here. JD, what's up, man?
2010 Northland graduate, the most iconic dunker in City League history, in my opinion.
Tavion's
there, but JD had 60 dunks in his junior season alone.
I mean, Sully and Trey, they opened the floor for him to do what he do.
If you can find another player who had 10 dunks in the game like he had against Canton Timken as a senior, then we'll have that discussion. But JD, shout out to JD, his brother,
legend. His brother
Jawan is a post grad senior now at Huntington Prep post grad team. We wish Jawan the best. He's got some big time talent. Want to see him make it to the next level.
I love the comments, man. West Sider again, Kemper Busby, West High. They used to call him Daddy Longstrokes out there, and we would be battling on that track. He said, "Keep up the good work. Keep up the good work, fellas. Appreciate it, KB. What's up out there?" Des Arnaz, Cuzzo, he said, "Keep working, man." Hey, you know how? Hey,
Des is my guy, man. I was like real into the hip hop scene back in Columbus, maybe 2011, 2012. Kings Row and Soul Classics was huge. So shout out to Des. He had a big part of that when I was freshman in college, 2011. I got to see Ellie for the Uncool, now known as King Veda, perform live with P Black and Fabergé. Hey, so shout out to Des, man. I appreciate what he does.
Shout out to Des, man. So yeah, keep the comments coming. Hey, tell us what school you repping out there.
Yep.
Are you from the city, but now you're in the suburbs? It happens. Are you from the suburbs, but now you repping South or repping Northland? That happens too. Let us know who you're rocking with. We got some
comments on that dunk comment I made. Casey Hood says AJ Davis of Linden and Lund had 13 dunks versus Mifflin at home his senior year. And Myron Best says Lamont Barnes will give JD a run for his dunk champion. And I think
Kenny Gregory, and hold on, man, I'm a little older than everybody that's commenting right now, but to any of my old heads out there that's just watching me, if you remember Marion Franklin, early 90s, Mike Coley, okay?
Well, that's before my time.
His calves were the size of rocks, boulders, and they played on a great team with Kurt Simmons and Sean Wilson and a lot of great talent, but he was another one who lived above the rim.
Another guy a couple years ago, Avercendrick had two of them actually, Jaquan Harrison and Houston Smith. Houston's now a junior at Bethune-Cookman, so Avercendrick had some big-time talent the last few years as well.
Oh, and also, hey, what device are you watching this on? Are you watching this on your phone? Are you watching this on, you got to pull it up at home on the YouTube channel? Phone, tablet, computer, iPad. Let us know how you are watching this. We love to know that information as well. If you're phone, tablet, computer, iPad, etc., we love to know that. Definitely. And Dad said he said, "What's up, Zach?" So he definitely respects that. So look, I was at a game last night. I got out there, did some covering. Westerville North versus Olentangy. Again, it was the matchup of the point guards. Sean Marks from Olentangy, Jeremiah King from Westerville North. I'm going to tell you, athletically, physically, I was definitely impressed with Westerville North. They had the big man out there. I want to get his name right.
Philip Austin.
Philip Austin, okay?
He's unsigned. If there's any college coaches watching this and you need a wing forward, power forward who's 6'6", 6'7", athletic, check out Philip Austin. He's also a big-time student. He's got an offer from Air Force. So if Air Force is offering you a scholarship, you're obviously getting it right in the classroom. So shout out to Phil. It's just a guy who does it in the classroom and on the court.
Great family. I got a chance to talk to Philip last night, and it was a tough loss. Okay, 65-63. He did say they started off the season last year a little bit slow, so he was confident in what they could bring to the table. A young man that I do want to bring up, okay, because in high school basketball, sometimes you have to wait your turn. You don't necessarily walk in to start them. But a young man last night that really impressed me, and I think you're going to be hearing his name as not only one of the top shooters this year, but moving forward, okay? And that's Noah Lawrence. You already know a lot about this young man. He walked in the game last night, 2 3-pointers right off the bat as soon as he touched the ball. Bang, bang. And I was really impressed. He handled the ball also. He wasn't just out there.
He's one of the best freshmen.
Spot-up shooters, yeah.
One of the best freshmen in the area. He's got a great story. So Noah's dad passed away of cancer just a few years back. He had a brother, Alex, that played there. I believe he was class of 2015 or 16. So Noah's been through a lot. He's just a great kid and loves the game of basketball. So I'm so glad to see him playing so well early. Again, when you go through adversity at a young age, it gets tough to do the things he's doing. So shout out to Noah, and I think at Westerville North, that's the future right there.
Yeah, absolutely. No question about it. I think he will be one of those guys in the next – really – this was only one game for him, and he's a freshman, so he's going to have
still, you start off with a league game against a team like Olentangy
out the gate
with senior guards who are going to pressure you and make it tough, and you have 17 points. I think that speaks for just how ready he is and just the type of career he's probably going to have.
So I want to, because they took the loss last night, but I want to kind of finish with them. Austin, I like. As a playmaker in the middle. Yep. He made some plays outside where he caught it on the three-point line, made some moves to get to the basket. Noah Lawrence, I love the freshman, the shooter. They also have some athletic ability. Chase Perkins and his brother Charles Perkins. Chase more of a slasher, get to the basket kind of guy. Charles kind of big body, looks like a football player, to be honest with you. Yep.
Charles got some nice touch and good post work at 6'4", so he's a good kid.
Now, he didn't get a lot of touches last night, and I'm sure that they'll be able to work that in as the season goes along. And then the player that everybody from Westerville North was there to see, Jeremiah Keene, I want you to touch a little bit on him, and I'll tell you what I saw last night. Jeremiah, he was in a rush, it looks like, last night. Yeah. And I understand it was a home game. It was a league game. Sean Marks on the other side, so you want to play your best. He didn't play his best game last night. But I think once everything kind of settles down, he sees the tools that he has around him. This could be, depending on how Westerville North plays, it looks like a team where he could almost average double figure in assists, man. I mean, they have those kind of players around him. I think they have a high ceiling. Yeah. I think that they can play with some of these teams, some of the better teams in the area. It's just to see how they all put it together. But I love Keene's game, and I was impressed with him last night.
Yeah, so he's a 4-year guy. He played a lot as a freshman, and then obviously the last 2 years, sophomore, junior year. Jeremiah, it's his team now. He doesn't have Julius Brown and Julian Malone in that backcourt, and I think that's going to be a big adjustment for him. But he's ready. He's ready for this moment. He's got Division I offers. So good family, comes from good stock. I think he's going to be just fine. But like you said, I think he has to grow into becoming a facilitator also and getting those guys involved, because Westerville North has weapons, and they're going to need the ball, and those guys are going to need shots in order to play to their potential. And
it's going to make his job easier once everybody else is supporting him, because he's super quick with the ball. Yeah. Maybe the fastest player from in-line to in-line with the ball in his hands.
And he can change direction.
Absolutely.
Like crazy.
So he has talent. I like to see them put that together and for Westerville North to have a good year. But let's talk about the team that won. That was Olentangy. They were led by, the guy, Sean Marks, 23 points last night. Again, we talked about it earlier. Didn't shoot great from long range, but he just controlled the game. He got some other good performances from number 25, Tavion James. I like him. Yeah. Good player, aware. You know what I mean? They don't have a lot of great size, but he was able to go down in the post, get some baskets, made some plays on the perimeter. So I really love what he did. And then they had a shooter that was on fire in the first half. I want to shout him out too, Noah Gossett.
Yep.
He was on fire. I believe he had 3 or 4 threes in the first half.
Olentangy has some shooters between Marks and Gossett, and then even the senior Alex Seavey.
Yes.
He can also light it up too. So that's kind of always been just their style the last 5 or 6 years. And with Marks in the middle, controlling the action and getting guys
Marks
open
in the middle. Hey.
Marks in the middle. Hey,
change that handle, Marks. Hey, I like it. Go ahead.
I didn't even try to do that, but Sean can get to the basket now. So you can't. They're going to be tough to defend, because he's going to be able to beat guys off the dribble and finish at the rim, and then it's hard to defend those guys because they're just surrounding him with shooters. So.
Absolutely, and he was very physical with the ball. And again, like you said, just watching him last night, it looked different. He didn't fear going in the lane. It wasn't.
Here's a stat that Marks had as a sophomore. He shot 47% from the field, 44% from 3, and 91% from the line. He had a near 50, 40, 90 season. That is. You don't see many guys do that in the NBA.
Right, and this is in high school, so definitely.
And the thing is, what impresses me about Sean is he did that, but still to this day he's putting up about 900, 1,000, 1,500 shots a day at Just Hoops. So if you want to become an elite shooter like Sean, you have to put the work in. It's not by accident. Like, this kid has
kind of unorthodox.
hard.
He puts it over here a little bit.
But it's so quick that it's tough to stop.
It is, man. Shout out to Tony Harris who's watching. And the 4841 is in the building. What's up, Juwanza? Juwanza Moore definitely watching this as well. So I was definitely impressed with both teams last night.
I have a quick question. Darren Gamble, I know Darren for a while. He said, I'm not a basketball guy, but Franklin Heights hasn't won a basketball game as an opener in a while. And I know it's international, but what do you guys think with all their young guys producing? So Franklin Heights, they got some stud, freshmen and sophomores. Artrell Saunders, it starts with him. He's the freshman, 6 foot. He had 13 points against International on Thursday. And then they have a sophomore, Tommy McGeehan, who had 12 points in that game, or maybe 12 or 14. But Franklin Heights, they have some young talent. They're a West Side program that's really struggled in the last couple of years. And if those guys can continue to produce, I think they have a chance to, get better here in the next couple of years.
You know what? Programs like Franklin Heights, man, I just feel like they need love, man. They need somebody to come in there. Maybe it's not one person. Maybe it's a group of people. Maybe it's just a athletic department.
Or just someone to come in who raises the confidence. And there's a kid on the West Side, Southwestern City School team. We're going to get to them a little later. That's done just that. So
absolutely, man. So those are the first 2 games of the Pick Six. Now let's get into some games that we're going to be seeing today that is going to have everybody's attention. Again, a huge day-to-day when it comes to high school basketball here in Central Ohio. The 2018 All-Ohio High School Hoop Showcase. A lot of great teams. We'll run down all the teams that are going to be playing in it. But I want to get to the third game of our Pick Six, and that's Afrocentric versus number 4 in your power rankings, Grandview Heights.
Afrocentric's number 6. So
yes, number 6. Yep.
This is a Division III battle. It could be. You could see this later on in the district tournament. Afrocentric, Coach Bates has been scouting this. Grandview returns a lot of talent. They, really ran over Patriot Prep on Thursday. So, going to be excited to see, that matchup. We'll be covering that. Pickerington North, Darkel Curry and Nathan Perky will be out there covering all the action. So, Afrocentric's going to be tough. They, lose. We spoke on it a little bit in the last show. They lost the top 3 scorers. We'll see what Callie Davis can do and what those young guys can do on that team. But Grandview Heights, they have 2 juniors. If you've not seen Grandview Heights, I suggest you go out and check them out. It starts in the backcourt, really. Brian Collier has been a kid since his freshman year, has been lighting it up. And then Luke Lachey, is Jim Lachey's son.
The legend, Jim Lachey.
6'6". He's going to play high major football, but he's no slouch on the basketball hardwood. He's one of the very best power forward, wing forward players in the area.
It's no surprise. It's not surprising at all how those genes transfer.
No, yeah. Your dad played in the NFL. There's a good chance you're going to be pretty good. So
absolutely.
That's going to be a matchup. I'm excited to see how that one turns out.
Let's move on to our 4th game. I'm interested in this one, man. The old legends from the city, Northland, not necessarily coming in with this kind of team that they've had in the past.
Right.
The big time recruits, the high flyers. We talked about JD, who was checking in and watching us. The point guards they've had in the past, Seth Towns, right. Trey Burke, Sully, to name them all. What are we expecting as they take on a team that made a tremendous run last year? They have one of the top players and point guards in the area in C.J. Anthony. What are you expecting in this Harvest Prep Northland game?
Well, it's going to start in the backcourt. Obviously, Northland's best player is Nikili Elmore, the senior. Tough kid. He's waited his turn. It's finally his team, and I think he's ready to lead the charge. Northland started off kind of rough. They lost to Eastmoor last weekend in the City League preview. So it's going to be interesting because Harvest Prep, they're going to defend you, they're going to put pressure on you, and they're going to want to play 100 miles an hour and put up a lot of threes. So if Northland's going to struggle to make shots, I think it's going to be a long day for them. Harvest Prep, they just have so many weapons. C.J. Anthony, with him in the backcourt, he's the man, but you have guys like Brandon Beavers and Sol Hines and Elijah Glenn, and Andrew Tate is a senior that I think could have a chance to be a breakout guy this year.
Sol Hines, I was really impressed with him. You know what I mean?
Shot maker,
definitely
6'4", good size on the wing, and can stroke shots and knock them down. So when you have point guards like Beavers and C.J. Anthony that can get to the lane and know how to pass, it makes a guy like him, it makes his job real easy. So is there a particular matchup in this game you're looking forward to? I think in the backcourt, Elmore, it'll probably be Elmore versus Anthony. If not, it'll be Beavers. If Keeley can have a good game and hit some shots and get his guys going, I think Northland will have a shot because they're never going to give up. Those guys are always going to play tough and fight hard.
Legacy to live up to.
A player, though, Mikhail Massey, if Mikhail Massey can have the type of breakout game that I know he's capable of, you can see Northland upsetting him here. He's going to have to, he's going to go up against some length. Harvest Prep, they're big compared to what Northland has. So if Mikhail can have the type of game that he's capable of, Northland will be able to compete. But I think this is Harvest Prep's game to lose.
Also checking in, Reginald Sincere Jarrett gave a shout out to Delaware Hayes High School. Yes. We like Delaware, man, and we got something special for you coming for Delaware later on in the season. We got some planned for you guys out there, and also they comment Letty Lyles. They want them to check in on the show as well. Again, however you're watching, let us know how you're watching. But Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
What device, please?
Yes, yes. We're there. Make sure you go subscribe to all the pages. 270 Hoops, the Central Ohio High School Showcase. Make sure you liking all those, because you'll be able to find that content. All right. The fifth game I want to get to in the Pick Six, going Division I here. Upper Arlington taking on Huber Heights Wayne. You said it's a little bit of a backstory.
There's some tension.
Yeah, a little bit of tension here in this matchup here.
There is some tension in this one. So Upper Arlington was supposed to play Huber Heights Wayne last year at Flying to the Hoop. It was supposed to be the last game of the event.
They had a great team last year. Dane Goodwin, Max Smart,
Will Grabovac.
Absolutely.
So
yes,
it was very snowy that day. That game wasn't supposed to tip till 8:30 p.m. So Upper Arlington, they called it off. I think it might have been Sunday night, but they called it off, because of unsafe road conditions. They weren't going to start driving back to Columbus till around midnight, and the snow was not going to let up. That was the last game of Flying to the Hoop. That's the 8:30 matchup on Monday that everybody looks forward to. And Wayne, the people in the Dayton area, Wayne, they were pretty ticked off that Upper Arlington didn't come down. They were saying that, UA was scared that they called it off. They didn't want to play that game. And UA offered, they said, okay, come play us at Capitol. We'll play at Capitol. You can keep the gate. And Wayne didn't want to do it. So this is going to be a game today that these two teams, obviously with what's happened the last year, they don't like each other, and the coaches probably have a little bit of tension there too. So it's going to be interesting. UA, it's a different team. Obviously Dane Goodwin's not back, and Wayne's always just going to be physical, athletic, and tough. So that'll be a big test for Upper Arlington, to start off the season.
All right, so I want to get over here on YouTube, man. We got so many comments on YouTube, and I want to thank you guys so much. Tyler Augustin, he comments, what game you going to today, Zach? Harvest Prep or Northland? Grant Gilliard comments, autoplay whole game last night, dominated on both ends.
Hey, Grant, so for guys in Pickaway County and just that area, Grant does a great job getting those guys out. He coached a team in my fall league called the Academy, and he had guys from Logan Elm and Circleville and just schools in that area, and he does a lot for those kids. So I love what Grant does. He's always been someone that is keeping me updated with what's going on in southern and south,
Owens
southeastern area of Central Ohio. So
definitely shout out definitely to Grant. So many comments, man. Owen and Sam. They're chiming in. Noah Lawrence hit a deep three last night at the end of the game. Noah should have got that shot for the possession prior when you guys were down 3, because, he was the best shooter on the floor last night. No question about that. Jason Flegel, good stuff here, guys. Great vision. Checking you out in Phoenix.
Wow.
Phoenix checking in, to the Central Ohio Hoops Report, man. This is awesome.
Worldwide, baby.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, we appreciate the weather. We can get a little bit of that. Grant, he checks in again with some more just statistics and things that happened last night. Let me see. Jason, he checks in again. Calio have legit compliant with all the fouls, in your opinion.
What was the question?
Calio have legit complaint with all the Kalo, I'm sorry.
Ed's always going to ride officials. It's what he's done his whole career. Some of them were questionable. There was one where Ryan Greggs literally got run over, the kid who got called, Ryan got called for the block, but the kid who had the ball lost it midway up. Ryan was there. So that was the one that ticked Ed off. And but the refs, they evened it out in the second half. By the time, the fourth quarter rolled around, the teams were about even in fouls. But it was definitely a tough start for Westerville South to begin that game.
Richard Boone, shout out to Coach Simmons of Beechcroft. Great team last couple years, man. Definitely.
Last year was one of my favorite teams that I ever covered. Those guys truly a brotherhood, and I'm going to miss watching them play. But fortunately, all those guys are playing college basketball or some type of post-grad basketball right now.
Absolutely.
And Trey Long, who was on that team, who I think went under the radar a little bit, he's playing at Urbana right now and lighting it up. Coach Dials at Urbana thinks that he could be a pro. So shout out to Coach Simmons. He cares greatly about those kids. And I think Beechcroft, they're young and they got some unproven pieces, but they're going to be just fine in the next couple of years. Let's get on to this last game.
Yeah, last game, man. Game number 6 of the Pick Six. I think this is the one that we all are looking forward to. And look, keep commenting. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Please keep the comments coming in. We appreciate all of those. Thank you very much for rocking with us today. And moving forward, we'll be here Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., giving you this, for these young people out here on the basketball court. Game number 6 of the Pick Six, the one I think we're all looking forward to. Morgan Safford bringing his Hartley Hawks, okay? Ramon Spears, Trey Watkins, Marcus Johnson coming from South High with the Bulldogs. They're going to meet up here at Gahanna Lincoln later on at 5 p.m. Your thoughts, man?
1 and 2 in Division II. These are the teams in our 270 Hoops preview magazine. We had a staff roundtable, and there's 2 district titles to win, and everybody picked South and Hartley. I don't think anyone else picked anybody else other than those 2 teams. Hartley was our pick to win the CCL. South was our pick to win the City League South, and then Walnut Ridge got Kavion Ross. And the reason I was probably going to go South, I think those 2 teams will split, and I'll be real quick about this, but City League, there's a rule.
Yes, it is.
If there's a tie, the team who last went to the City League Championship makes it. So if there is a split and Walnut Ridge and South take care of business, I think Walnut Ridge will, because of that rule, be able to, go on and go to the City League Championship. But in this game today, contrasting styles. So South, as we talked about, on Wednesday, they're guard-oriented. They don't have as much size, but they're going to defend the hell out of you, and they're going to be able to make shots. Hartley's a little bigger. So Safford is their primary ball handler. He's about 6'4", 6'5", and then they have some absolute tanks in the front court. You have 2 Division I football commits between Peyton Collins and Jordan Kirkbride. They both tight end, left tackle on the football team. Yeah. So you have
tight end is definitely tall for sure.
Yes. So Kirkbride is about 6'6", 220 solid, and then Peyton Collins is about 6'8", 230, 240. South, if they want to get to the basket, they're going to have to go through those 2 guys, and then Morgan obviously as well. He can defend on the perimeter with physicality, and he's also going to get to the basket. I think the matchup in that game for me that I'm really excited about is Marcus Johnson against Morgan Safford.
Yes.
I see those 2 guys matching up, and then Trey Watkins, he's going to have to make shots there and play at the level that I know he can. So really excited. I'm going to be there. I'll be at Gahanna. This is the game I'm looking forward to the most, and I think it's going to tell a lot about who's going to be the team to beat in Division II.
I will be there as well. I think the matchup between Morgan and Marcus is the one to watch. I want to see if Marcus will match Morgan's intensity.
Yes, that'll be key.
Morgan is he knows he's the guy to lead Hartley. Marcus, because I think he may be surrounded by a couple more players, and Marcus is not the primary ball handler.
Right.
But I think that Marcus needs to get on the glass.
Yes,
I think
he will.
Yeah, I think will. Yeah. Listen, South versus Northland City Championship a couple years ago, I thought that Marcus was going to be big in that game.
He was. He was the key in the second half.
Yes.
As a freshman to do that.
Yes.
He's going to have to step into a bigger leadership role. South had a deep senior class last year, so he didn't have to do that. This year, it's different. And I think a guy who could break out in this matchup today is Taquan Symington.
Yes.
Call him Bink.
Call him Bink. That's right.
Hey, he is motivated. He wants to make a statement this year, and I think he can do just that. And this game today will be a great opportunity to do that.
So that was the 6th game of our Pick Six. It's going to be an awesome matchup. I want to run down some of these games if I can real quick. So at Pickerington North High School today, 11 a.m. is going to be Reynoldsburg versus Legacy Christian Academy. Again, 1 p.m. Afrocentric versus Grandview Heights. At 3 p.m., Northland versus Harvest Prep. That's one of the games of our Pick Six. Is going to be awesome there. 5 p.m., Pick Central versus Springfield.
There's that one. There's some intensity there. You know, Jay Rogers and Sam Towns came in from Springfield to pick Central. So
that is definitely one to watch. 7 p.m. Upper Arlington versus Huber Heights Wayne. That is one in our Pick Six. And then 9 p.m. Pickerington North versus Villa Anja St. Joe. So, I mean, I mean, you can't get much
tough,
better than
that's
that.
a big test for Pick North. I think they got the young talent and the potential to handle that test, but Babe Kwasniak and VASJ, they're always going to be ready to play no matter where they go.
And then at Gahanna Lincoln, at 1 p.m., Dayton Dunbar versus Whitehall. 3 p.m., Olentangy Liberty versus Cincinnati Taft. 5 p.m., Bishop Hartley versus Columbus South, the game that I think we all want to see. And then at 7 p.m., it's at their gym. So why not end the night with who?
Sean Jones.
Who?
Sean Jones.
Hey, man, yes, the Sean Jones show is in full effect. He'll be leading Gahanna Lincoln tonight versus Richmond Heights at 7 p.m. at Gahanna Lincoln. So definitely, great basketball all throughout the day here in Central Ohio. We have more YouTube comments. We did get a question that asked us, what do you think about Briggs High this year? And also, a question came through to ask, what do you think about Jeremiah King's game and what can he improve on? And that came from Isaiah. I mean, if you want to take a quick minute on that, I mean, for me, the willingness to embrace his teammates, share the ball with them. Every night might not be the number one scoring night for Jeremiah, but if he can utilize his teammates, great athletic ability they have at Westerville North, great size. He's
just got to become more of a floor general, not just a scorer. And he can score. We all know he can score the ball, but I think people want to see what he can do as a facilitator, and I think he's capable of that.
Yeah, I think he has the skill set to do that. Absolutely.
The spotlight's been high on him ever since the very beginning, and he might have some, unfair expectations, but I think Jeremiah's going to be just fine for them. As far as Briggs, Tony Rice, he's got a pretty good team coming back. I'm really excited about the upside that they have. Dominic Farley comes over from West High School, as does Orlando Pratt. So they have two kids who crossed Sullivan Avenue and are now at Briggs High School. And a couple juniors, I think Andrew Grubbs and Jacob Cash could be two breakout players. And if they can keep them on the team the whole season, senior Terry Moore could be the difference. He's about 6'7". And can control the post. He played a lot as a sophomore, didn't play much last year. If he can be a guy that's on that team and in the rotation for a long time, Briggs could be a team that slips up, or not slips up, but maybe surprises somebody like a Walnut Ridge or a South late in the season.
And when you got a mind like Tony, like Coach Rice on the sideline, he's going to keep his team involved, in the game as long as he can to give them the best opportunity to win. So definitely a great coach there. Clayola the vet, what's up, Clay? Thank you for checking in on YouTube, man. I appreciate that. He says, Bulldogs, statement win, and keep up the great work, fellas. Man, I appreciate you, Clay. Thank you, man. So let's get to the stars of the night, man.
Yes.
Okay, stars of the night.
My favorite part of the show. I've been
absolutely. Now, we've got a couple names before we get to the top guy. So I want you to go through some of the names and kind of build this up until we get to the top star of the night last night. So
there was about 5 or 6 games on Thursday. The top scorer that night, and it was the top scorer, so there were 6 scorers last night that scored more than he did. Dylan Johnson is a sophomore guard from River Valley. He had 26 points against Olentangy Berlin in Berlin's first game, and that was on the road. River Valley is a team. They always seem every couple years to have a player that goes under the radar but can really score. So I'm excited to see what Dylan does for the rest of the season. A player I'm really excited about last night in a win against Miami Trace for Circleville was Riley Gibson. The sophomore played in the 270 Hoops Fall League Open Division for the Academy, coached by Grant Gilliland, who has been commenting on the show. Riley's a guard that can make shots, get to the basket, and is just a real tough kid with a chip on his shoulder. He had 26 points last night against Miami Trace. Brady Snyder, senior at Canal Winchester. Seems like he's been there forever. Before then, it was Brendan Snyder, his older brother, and then they're coached by Lindell Snyder. So the Snyder family has their fingerprints all over Canal Winchester basketball. He had 26 points last night in the opening win against Independence. Another guard, senior guard, I think he's gone a little bit under the radar, but he's been a primary guy in the Wellington rotation is Dallas Patrick. He had 28 points last night against Riverview East Academy. Big matchup today against Zeb Jackson to see just how we can do. Dallas is receiving quite a bit Division II interest. So today's a proving ground for him, obviously going up against a high major point guard. If Dallas can have another game like he did today, that could be a statement for him. We talked about him a little bit earlier, Paul Burris from Delaware Hayes.
Yes.
If you haven't seen this kid, get out there. Delaware Hayes has a legit trio between him, Taryn Kinsway, the senior, who's been there forever. Taryn's been a productive player and was first-team All-OCC last year. And then Nate Griggs, who's a junior guard, shot maker, again, gets off the dribble, can beat people to the rim. But Paul, he's the absolute X factor. He's 6'6", physical wing forward. He's put on about 15 pounds of muscle since last season, and he can stroke it. It's pure stroke on the perimeter. He's got post work. He's got a mid-range game, and he can beat people off the dribble. So
Paul Burris, man, eyes on you, brother. Eyes on you.
Paul's going to have games because he's capable. He had 24 points in the first half last night. If he can keep playing like this, especially against the teams like Hilliard-Bradley, Delaware is going to have a chance to play at their top peak.
Before you finish these last couple up, Jawan Zamore, he said, my guy Bink, they love Bink out there. Tony Harris comments, Greg Ray. I believe South just may take that W. And then Greg Ray, again, he said, Zach, if they can't keep them on the team, hashtag facts and hashtag bear down. So a little trash talk out there. That's nothing wrong with that. Coach Desmond, Coach DJ, what's up, man? He's checking in and watching also the Central Ohio Hoops Report, man. Thank everybody for checking in. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We appreciate everything. You got a couple more. One more before the big one, okay?
Dylan Herbert. And he's only 1 point behind the big one. Buckeye Valley, junior guard. Also a kid that pretty under the radar, unheralded in this area. Dylan had 35 points last night.
That'll get your attention.
Against
35.
Delaware Hayes. And he's on a Buckeye Valley team that doesn't have a whole lot of offense, options around him. They're very young. Two of their better offensive players are both freshmen, and Troy Scouten and Dylan Thompson. But Dylan Herbert, if you love Buckeye Valley, if you want to watch Buckeye Valley, Dylan's going to put up numbers like this all season. I think he has a chance to maybe lead the area in scoring because he is going to get all the shot attempts that he wants.
And Dylan, man, if you don't got no help, man, just help yourself, man. You know what I mean?
Put them shots up.
Keep shooting them. That's right. So let's get to the big one. This is my guy, man. This is my guy. I've been rocking with him, man. I love the skill set. We all know about him. Dublin Kaufman's own. Look, man, I'm not going to go out on a limb, but I think he definitely is a first-team All-State caliber player this year. You even mentioned that it's a different kind of dude. We're talking about Dominic Penn, Dublin Kaufman, Dom. He's just a man. Your star tonight.
So Dom Penn, this is a scrimmage 2 weeks ago. I think this is where he made his statement on the type of player he's going to be this season. That's obviously a dunk on a 6'6" defender. But what he did last night for Dublin Kaufman, they're in a game, tough matchup, a lot of expectations for Kaufman. They're playing Mansfield Senior. It's 24-22 at halftime, and Dom takes over in the second half. He had 36 points. He knocked down a barrage of threes. His sister was, putting it on her Instagram story, so I watched basically his highlights last night. Dom was lighting it up. And I think the biggest thing for Dom is he's grown as a leader. The kid was forced to mature this summer. A lot of adversity going on off the court, in other parts of his life.
I want to see this Dom every Tuesday
I think you
and
will.
Friday, man.
I think you will. Dom's motivated. For the first time in his life, things got really tough, and I think that forces a kid to grow. When you go through things you haven't experienced, you become a different person. And Dom knows that he has to be the leader in this Kaufman team.
Dom, if you're watching this, man, I want to see this Dom Penn right here.
You will.
Every Tuesday and Friday and big Saturdays when we sit in front row.
He's dunking on people now.
Love
he's
the
hitting
dunk
shots,
game.
And the underrated part of his game is his defensive ability. He is very quick on his feet. He can,
quick hands.
He can stay in front of anybody. He's got quick hands and can turn steals into dunks like that. So I think we can see this type of Dom. If Dublin Kaufman wants to win the region, like I think they can, you're going to need that type of Dom every night. And if they can get more out of those supporting guys like the Derrick Van Valeris and the Luke Bartemises of the world, Kaufman's going to be a contender, but it all starts with Dom in the backcourt.
Can Dom be a 30-point scorer and still distribute enough for Dublin Kaufman to be a good team this year?
I think he can. He doesn't have to score 36 every night because they have plenty of weapons. And one thing that the teams recruiting him want to see is him pick up more assists and average more assists, and he's capable of that in the pick and roll game. Very good at distributing the ball and just an elite ball handler. So he's got a good IQ for the game. He knows how to play. I think he's going to be just fine. And I think if you get performances like this, and last night he put up 36, and it wasn't like he was just gunning.
Right,
he was on fire. I watched the clips.
When
Dribble moves.
When he gets in that zone, there's really
nothing you can do. And I think Upper Arlington saw that last year.
It was amazing.
The last two games that they played, Dom was absolutely ridiculous. So he's a big time player. And you got the bloodline with Scooney Penn, who when he was at Ohio State, he came and made an immediate impact when he came there. And
Dom has amazing genes, wonderful genes. Great family. So, yeah, man, he was our star tonight, man. 36 big points, man. Dublin Kaufman. with a big victory last night. Again, we gave you the rundown for today. Pick North High School, games. Gehenna High School, games. Big-time players from not only Central Ohio but from around the Ohio area. So if you're not doing anything, you want to get that groceries and stuff taken care of and get ready for the Buckeye game tonight, stop by one of these schools if you're in that area. Check out some great basketball. Other than that, man, you got anything you want to get off your chest, man, before we wrap it up here?
Yeah, so I saw a game on Thursday that I want to talk about. There's two big-time players. Before we get to the one that we have the footage on, Javon Miller is a kid at Groveport who has went through he's had a really tough month in November. His dad passed away from a heart attack coming back from a recruiting trip early in the month. And for that type of adversity for a kid, you're 17 years old, you're going to your senior year, and your dad passes away unexpectedly, can do a lot. And my prayers are with him and his family. But Javon had a game on Thursday night. Something was working. Something was working in his favor. I don't think he missed a shot. He was hitting every mid-range jumper, every three that he put up, and he was playing with a passion and an energy that when you go through, life-changing events like that, it does something to you. And Javon's got ability. He's 6'3". He's got great grades. He's got a qualifying, very good GPA, plus 3.0 GPA. His ACT score is good. If there's any coaches, again, NAIA, Division II, Division III, if you have a scholarship, if you have some money, this is a kid that's going to come in, and I think he's going to be very productive. He waited his turn. He's coming out of his shell, as Coach Greshel said at Groveport, and I think he's capable of having performances like he did on Thursday night. But there's a kid that he was going up against. Javon had 23. This kid, Khalil Kamara, had 23 points. He is a transfer from the Philadelphia area, and he's got big-time athleticism. He made a statement right here, and I'm just going to let you guys watch it. Easy.
Explosion.
6'2", combo guard, point guard, plays with passion, plays with energy, knows how to play.
Look at that. I like that. Yeah.
Love it. And he was defending like that every single possession. He was picking up the opposing ball handler at half court and making it tough on him. And that's easy. And he did it on the defensive end as well. And you'll see this right here.
Okay.
Off 2 feet. So he had the dunk off 1 foot. Give me that.
Yeah, that's some nice elevation off 2 feet, man. You got to be a special kind of athlete to do things like that.
And we talked about Franklin Heights earlier.
Yep.
We were talking about schools that have been down recently.
Yes.
That need, some confidence. Khalil's a kid. He's going to do that for Westland. He already did it. When he was on the floor, the way that Westland was playing, it was unlike what I've seen recently from them, at least in the last 5 years. I started my career covering Westland 2012, 2013. That 2013 class had seniors that believed in themselves and played together. For Westland, there's some belief there now, and they have some pretty good talent. They were down 20 at halftime, and by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, they were up 3 a minute into the quarter.
Wow.
They outscored Groveport 28-10 in the third quarter. Another senior had a great game. That was Deshaun Evans. Hit some tough shots. He's a volume shooter. He believes in any shot that he puts up, and when they're falling, Westland's tough to beat. And I think the X factor, they got about 2 of them that are very important. Gage Holbrook's a senior point guard. He was struggling to shoot the ball. Didn't hit his first 3 till the fourth quarter on Thursday. He's a guy, he had a 30-point game against Watkins Memorial last year. He's capable of doing that, and as a senior guard, he's got to be a leader and knock down those shots because Khalil's going to handle the ball for them. And obviously, he had 23 points, and you see the dunk and you see some of the shots that he made, but he also distributed the ball very well. He didn't take a bad shot, and when he had a good pass available, he passed out to it. But the true X factor for them is a junior. His name's Eric Panning, 6'6". He runs very well. He can block shots. He can handle it a little bit, and he can knock down shots. Had a tough first half shooting the ball, but he finished with about 13 or 14 rebounds and hit a 3 in the corner in the fourth quarter. I believe it either cut the game to 1 or tied it. So if Eric can have the type of season and play at the level he can with guys like Khalil, I think Westland's got a chance to maybe win double-digit games this year.
Javon, man, our thoughts and prayers go out to you and your family. Khalil, all eyes on you, man. You got a big dunk on 270 Hoops. You know that's going to be circulating around the internet. Now people are going to be coming to see you, man, so make sure you bring that same energy.
The dunk was filmed by a guy named Sean His Twitter is Money Time. He's going to start filming games, getting out there, helping kids.
Okay.
He played at West when I started my career back in 2012, 13, 14. He's a guy that wants to get out in the community and help these kids out. So Money Time, that's his Twitter. That was his video, and I want to make sure he gets credit for that. So
absolutely, absolutely. So a couple quick comments before we wrap it up today. Greg Gray says Dom Penn, CJ Anthony, #ballers. Absolutely right. Jawan Zamora chimes in, IQ 100, best in the area, Dom P. And then also comments, best athlete, Magwood, best IQ, Dom P. So yeah, Dom P. That's the name you're gonna be hearing a lot of throughout the year, man. He's a really, really great player. If that's it, man, wrap it up.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get to Gahanna and watch these games.
Zach is on the way out. I'm on the way out. You'll see us out there today somewhere. Come through, say what's up, man. Let's talk some basketball. Huge day. It is the Central Ohio Hoops Report. Hashtag that COHR. We appreciate you, man. Hey, listen, bear with us on the schedule. Couple vacation days coming up over the next couple weeks. But after we clear that, definitely we'll be here on Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., but we'll keep you updated on all the schedule information. Make sure you follow those pages, those YouTubes, those Twitters, and those Facebooks. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you out there on the court, on the hardwood. Peace.